So we're going to get to know each other in typical soulogy style. Just yeah, and if you have to go and she steps in, that's fine. Is that what you were saying?
Sorry, what?
You said if you have to go, she'll step in?
Yes, yeah. Well,
Okay.
it's just I'm worried about morning number 2.
Whatever. Whatever you. Hey, we are live, and that's a great way to start the show out.
Oh, really? You're
Hey,
kidding.
sorry, I didn't mean to throw that on you, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, we're gonna play a short intro, just so we can allow people time to come in. We got Glenn Willard here for the first time from New Zealand. We're gonna get to know each other in front of all of our brothers and sisters, and quite possibly his partner Donna. So we'll be right back in about 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Found a higher elevation. I did a video earlier. Lower elevation. See that? Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. That light's even coming in. At least I can see it. I don't know if it's going to come out. It's a beautiful planet. We're a beautiful species. Everybody's got a role here. We don't understand it. It's time to move away from the lower density vibrations. The veil's been lifted. There's plenty of light beings, higher energies that we don't understand and can never understand as human beings. But we have company here on this earth, and we always have, but now that the veil's lifted, a lot more people have seen it. Keep your head up. Keep the faith. Most of all, stay in your own power. Protect it. It's yours. It's the only thing you can own in this universe is you. Nobody can own you, and you can't own anybody. And anyone that ever came up with the idea, or whoever did come up with the idea that anything could be possessed on this earth was wrong. There's no such thing as a patent or a copyright or a trademark. There's no such thing as a contract. Nothing. Soul is soul. We're all one. And that's not a cliche. The light has won. We're all going to be part of this mutual rising. It's not just a soul thing. It's not just a Gaia thing. It's not just a solar system thing. Galactic. It involves more than our sun and our moon. All the stars that we can see. It's the big time. Everybody that's here signed up for it. And it's about to pay off. I'll see y'all at the after party. Todd Medina, Soldier One Studios, wishing you peace, power, protection. And big love to you and yours. One. All right, we got Glenn Willard from New Zealand on with us, and quite possibly his partner Donna. We're just gonna, and if we can't get both of them on together today, we're gonna get them on together the next time.
Or
definitely.
or
What's that?
Or just her next time.
Yeah, well, we can do both. We can do both.
She's got some interesting things to say, I'm sure.
I know she does. I could pick up on the energy on your videos. If anyone hasn't been to Glenn Willard's page and checked out his videos that him and Donna are doing, they're very powerful. They're very down to earth and raw, and that's what works as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah,
thank you.
Go ahead. It's all right. We're also on YouTube and Twitter.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I just pasted them over there.
So you are under what on YouTube? What's your channel?
Just Glenn Willard.
Glenn Willard. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Twitter is BearPaw101.
BearPaw101. Yep. That sounds interesting. So there's something going on with the bears, which
definitely a bear totem.
That's one of mine. That's one of my
In
theories.
fact, a little story behind bear. Actually, it was my handle. I had a radio show, and I called myself the Bear. And I'd never seen a live bear except in a zoo. I never saw a wild bear until I went to East City Ranch. First
Oh,
time
wow. Yeah. So you went to City Ranch in Washington State?
Yeah, with James Gilliland.
Right on.
And the second we arrived, I got out of the car. I'm walking just a few feet from the car, and what do I see? A bear. And then I stood on this picnic table to get a better view, and James Gilliland walked out of his little house, and he didn't actually see it, but he went chasing after it on a little four-wheeler.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. So, and then later on, he said, "You called him in, eh?"
Well, we were up in northeast Washington, not too far from there. I think it was in September, about this time last year. And there's an acquaintance of his by the name of Greg Sullivan, who's been on the show 4 or 5 times, and he runs J SETI in Japan. And the reason, wow. and the inspiration for what that was about 12 years ago, as I remember it, he went to the SETI Ranch, and he's actually from New York City, and he had his first awakening experience there. So he went to Japan, and now for 10 years he's been running J SETI, and he's doing great work over there. But awesome. He invited us over there. We just couldn't make it work because we were headed down south. But as far as the bear stories go, I got one too. So I never seen one, and so right before or right after, I can't remember, we went to Washington State. We were gifted for 6 weeks a cabin in Northern California, right outside of what's it called, Junction City, which is near Weaverville, which is near Redding, about an hour from Redding. And so what happened was, it was 42 acres in the middle, in a valley, in a river valley, surrounded by mountains, and it was bordered by 210 acres of Bureau of Land Management acreage. So we basically had 250 plus acres all to ourselves, and literally nothing out there, except for cougars or whatever, mountain lions, bears, of course, all the other animals that go there. So the second night we're there, I'm sleeping, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, or 3 or whatever it was, and I heard, "Go outside." And I knew it was a bear, and I went outside of the back porch, and it's dark, it's really dark out there, and all of a sudden I hear these twigs breaking, and I look to my right, and probably no more than 20 yards away, if that much, there was a black bear standing there eating berries. And we just looked at each other for a while. Yeah, it was very powerful. It was a very powerful time. And so I'm big on the bear. The bears, big time. One of my spirit guides was Chief Running Bear when I woke up about 9 years ago. So you obviously have been doing this for a long time. When I say doing this, you have been involved in expressing your experience, your skills and abilities to the community for quite some time.
Yeah, I was actually born in the U.S., and we've been here since '96. So we're around 24 years here in New Zealand. Both of us are American.
Is that right? How did y'all pick New Zealand? How did that happen?
Well, I have to go back a little bit. I'll try to keep it short and concise, but let me go back a little bit. I started my working life as a machinist, and I got burned out on that, and I tried several things, and anyway, I decided to go back to school. I got a bachelor's degree in teaching. It was a 5-year program, and I ended up getting certified in special needs education. But I kept changing my mind in school so often that I stayed for 7 years. And I'm qualified to teach in lots of different areas: science, English, psychology, art, industrial arts, and just But anyway, I tried teaching. It lasted no more than 2 years because it's a sick system that retards children. So I got out of that. And then I opened actually a crystal shop.
Wow.
Crystals and books. So I did that for 9 years.
Now, what year was this that you opened a crystal shop?
1999. And that was a gas because I figured, well, I've got a crystal shop. I better be able to do readings and healings. So I was doing healing work before that. So, of course, Reiki master and lots of other modalities: magnetic healing, crystal healing, color healing, sound healing.
So you got into all that long before 1999.
No, actually, only the first one was just spiritual healing, which I learned from the spiritualist church,
Okay.
which was kind of my opening for it.
Yeah.
But actually, I noticed you often asked, when did you first awaken?
Yeah.
And I can go two ways on that. When I got on the spiritual path, it was started here in New Zealand, but I had an awakening way back in '68. But it was so powerful, it landed me in a psychiatric hospital.
I was born in '61.
Yeah.
And I had an older brother and quite a few aunts and uncles that were teenagers, in 1968. And that has got to be the most, up until these years we've had recently, that has got to be the most powerful year that I've seen on the earth.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the first wave or something like that.
I don't know, but it was huge. That was a huge year. And even as a little kid, 6, 7 years old, at that time, of course, everybody watching everything in the TV, being indoctrinated, and of course in the U.S. you had the Vietnam War, you had all the politics, assassinations, the protests, and of course the cultural expansion, the sexual revolution, the female revolution, feminism. I mean, there was just all kinds of stuff happening. So you had a massive download, or did you have was it an isolated episode? What happened?
Oh, well, it was, I actually had a very famous doctor. He wasn't famous at the time, but he got famous later, Albert Ellis. And he's developed a system of psychology that's supposed to enable people to get better. Didn't work on me. Within that realm, you have to fall within a certain category of what's wrong with you. So he was working with people that were, I'm going sideways with this, but Ken Wilber looks at these different levels of development.
Yeah.
And one of them is the rational mind. Many people are stuck in the rational mind.
Yeah.
And what Albert Ellis developed was rational emotive therapy, which didn't actually work on me. And in fact, I never even opened up to him. He would ask me questions and I go, yep, nope, yep, nope. And sometimes I'd even lie. So I never really connected.
It's that rebel. I can identify with you. Yeah. It's that rebel. Yeah.
During that time, I was bouncing back between heaven and hell. And it's just a crazy wild ride. And I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks. And the ironic thing is I wrote it off at the time as an illness. Well, I was going back and forth, as bliss, this is hell, and back and forth. So I basically kind of went back to sleep, trying to be normal. And ironically, the first good job that I got not long after that was I was working for a defense contractor making missile guidance systems.
Whoa. Whoa. Where was this at?
This was in Southern California, and I was just working in the stock room and just kind of a weird thing to be doing. And after I stayed there for about 9 months, and then I figured, no, I don't want to be killing people, so I'm out of here.
Wow.
Finally. Then not long after that, I was still living with my mother and my brother, and we all moved up to the Sierras. And I worked in ski lodges up there. They liked me and didn't like my mother and brother, so they fired them and kept me on, which was great. And it's exactly what I needed to live in the Sierras and the mountains. And during my off time, I could go hiking and fishing and just exploring on my own. And it's really what I needed. And I stayed there a few years. I was a ski bum.
Sounds like the cosmic Forrest Gump to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working for a defense contractor, working as a ski bum.
Yeah.
What was it that happened in '68? Did you get a download, or did you just?
No, it wasn't a download. It was just so much stress. You know, growing up was a lot of people would think it was very stressful and a hard childhood. I don't see it that way. In fact, digression here. I was in India, and I went to Babaji's cave, and I connected with him, and he said, "You've had a very hard life," and got to thinking about it. Oh, no, not really. Actually had a pretty good life. But anyway, getting back to prior to '68, we moved a lot. So I've lived in 7 states and now 2 countries. And by the time I graduated high school, I had been to 18 different schools.
Wow.
And like I say, 7 states and about 30 cities and towns.
Was your dad in the military?
No, he was gone in '55.
Okay.
Divorced. He died young, but not that young.
Yeah.
I think he was 59 when he passed.
But you weren't a military brat, so you were just
No.
He
He was in the military, but not career.
Yeah, I got you. So you've been to India. You're living in New Zealand. You're both Americans.
Yep.
You had a breakthrough in 1968. Powerful year.
Yep.
You start doing some different types of energy work in the 90s. 99, you open up a crystal shop. How many people were opening crystal shops in 1999?
Well, this is a little town. It's I guess the 10th largest town in New Zealand, which is, I believe it's about 68,000. New Zealand has a very low population for the size of the country. It's only about 4.5 million for the entire country. Anyway, in New Plymouth, it's surrounded by dairy farms. That's the major industry here. That and oil. There's a lot of oil rigs around. And but anyway, I was the first successful crystal shop. There'd been several attempts, and mine was the one that kind of stuck. Like I say, I had it for 9 years, and so that was very nice. I sold books and crystals and did healings and readings and hired in various readers and healers, and yeah, went well.
In New Zealand.
In New Zealand, yeah.
So, and did you go to New Zealand because of your educational degree?
Yes, yeah. I came here as a teacher. They had a teacher shortage.
Okay.
And I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but once I got into it, I said, no, this world sucks. I'm out of here.
But you had enough longevity to be able to stay, be a citizen, or at least be able to stay there.
Yes. Yeah, we got in when we were still, how old was I? I was 46. So we're both about the same age here. So we kind of got in under the wire as far as age. They have a point system to get residency. And so we got all our points and we were able to get residency. We now have citizenship as well.
Cool.
So and I was able to keep my U.S. citizenship. So that'll be handy.
Yeah. If you ever want to come back. I'll take your residency for for mine. I'd like to get out of here. So this is 1999. Now we're at 20 years later, 21 years later.
Yeah.
When did you start coming out? You make videos. I mean, how did that happen for you? When did you start?
Well, the first thing was when I had the shop, I would say 90% of my customers were women. Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of men out there that are spiritual minded. So I wanted to kind of prove that to myself. So I made a documentary and I interviewed 20 men. See if I can lay my hands on one. Give me just a second here. I should have laid one out, but I didn't. Anyway,
so so what year was this you made the documentary?
I started it in, while I still had the shop. It was the last year of the shop, and I interviewed 20 men. By the way, this is free on YouTube. Just go to my channel, and you'll find it. It's a 1-hour feature-length documentary. And what I did was I interviewed about 20 men about their spiritual ideas, and we covered things like healing, meditation. What else did we talk about? Spiritual ideas.
Now, were these New Zealand countrymen, or were these from all over the world?
Mostly locals. One from the South Island, and I actually did a Skype interview with one guy in Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mark Drost. He's fairly well known in the spiritual community. He's a singer. A couple of these guys are well into the spiritual community and do workshops and healings and readings and this and that. So very interesting video. And it's full of funny things too. I just, like one time I took my didge out and played it for the cows, and they all lined up along the fence. And
they must have been having a flashback.
Yeah. So yeah, and then another part of it, we're all gathered around worshiping a TV antenna. Just throwing little bits like that here and there. And
you played the didge?
Yeah. I'll show you. I got it right here. In fact, I don't want to play it because I've tried it before and it sounds like shit over the line. But anyway, I'll show it to you. I've got different carvings on it.
Wow.
I started carving this in Australia when I went over there. This is I'm going that way. There's a crow, one of my totems. What do we got here?
Did you carve it yourself?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it was started by an Aboriginal guy. He helped me get started, and he drew pencil drawings on it, and I carved around his pencil drawings.
Wow.
Like the crow, his last name was Crow, and obviously he was very connected with that. And what else have I got in here?
I saw that star.
Home sign, medicine wheel here, which I've done talks on and workshops. What do we got here? I can't even.
Octahedron.
Yeah, Choco Ray on here. Everything's backward. It doesn't even work like a mirror. It just goes opposite way you think.
Yeah.
Here's kangaroo. That way.
Cool.
And turtle. That's another one of my totems. I keep going the wrong way. So anyway, and he said when I chose the didgeridoo, he said get a straight one. Hell no. This is not straight at all. So.
So,
anyway.
I mean, what's it been like for you and Donna to watch this expansion in consciousness take root, on or about 2012 and to where we are today? I mean,
wow, yeah, it's been a wild ride, actually, just mind-boggling. I mean, even up until recently, you feel alone on this journey. Especially, way back in '68, I didn't have anyone to go to, and that's basically why I kind of went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And tried to be normal, which didn't work too well. But anyway, so what's it like for us here now? We're connecting with other like-minded people, more and more of them. We've got a circle going now where we meditate together regularly. We're doing the meditation reflections. Donna is an awesome channeler. She can channel her guides and can have conversations with them all. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Was your reawakening, was it connected to meeting her? Because that would have been what, like 1994 when you met her?
No, we met 1990 actually.
1990.
I've kind of gone in and out of it actually. At 1960s, no, what year would that have been? I was 27. That would be 77. I had an awake summer, but I still didn't connect with anyone, so I was just kind of a wild child running around doing all kinds of crazy things, but I kept my mouth shut, and so I didn't end up in the hospital.
Yeah, right. Everybody hear that one? Even the people waking up now. Don't go post in 2 weeks that nobody's listening to you. We're a little bit more protected now, I think.
Yeah, that is good because it's happening to so many more people.
Did you have any? Did you guys have any inclination? Because I would imagine if you guys met in '90 and you're opening a crystal shop in 1999, you two must have had conversations about at least the potential of there being a mass awakening.
When we first,
yeah,
when we first met, well, actually, when Donna first moved in with me, we lived together a couple years before we got married. Anyway, we used to read to each other at night, and a book that we read that we fell in love with was I think you pronounce it Barbara Masinarak, Bringers of the Dawn.
Yeah, Bringers of the Dawn.
And we both knew, no, we're definitely Pleiadian. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in our mind at that time. And actually, yeah.
So you guys
know early on that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were having these conversations. You're reading Barbara Marciniak and Bringers of the Dawn. Were you shocked at all as it started to develop and it really started to explode after 2006?
No, it's all natural. No, this is makes more sense than this so-called reality 3D world.
Definitely.
3D is just wacko right now.
Now you mentioned the Pleiadians, and I know you resonated with that. I can tell, with what you said. Do you and Donna, have you had contact with Star Family? Do you connect through the third eye with them?
Yes. When we went to East City Ranch, we both got what they call a I'll have to ask Donna on this. What was the name of the healing that we got from James, Donna?
Sorry, but it's one where you connect, you're clearing all your past history, both on the planet and off the planet.
Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're basically clearing all your past history on planet and off planet.
Yep, that's it. And so one of the connections for me is Chai, which is a panther being, and Donna talks with her a lot, and I don't hear as much, but Donna does, and it's kind of strange because I'll tell you another story on myself. In 1980, I got totally burned out on machining. I was a machinist, and I got fired from 2 jobs in a row, and it just, this spirit didn't want me doing that anymore. So what I did end up doing, I went to work for a group home in Southern California. This is north of San Diego. And a very strange thing started happening there. It was a group home for 10 men, and we were all about the same age. I'm 30, and they're all around 30. And they very low level IQs. In fact, I think the average IQ was, like that of a 2-year-old.
Wow.
Some of them couldn't even talk. But getting back to my 1968 experience, I started hearing voices in my head again. But back in 68, I was tuning into the astral plane, and, all different levels. I had no control on it. And so anyway, it started happening again there. But this time, the voices were not talking to me. They were kind of talking, the group home men were talking to each other telepathically.
And you were
intelligent, articulate conversations, and from some of these guys that couldn't even speak. And I was working there 24/7. I was live-in, and started hearing all this, and then they started talking to me, and it was, their higher selves were communicating, and for some reason, I was able to tune into it. But it got worse and worse. My telepathy grew and grew, out of control, actually, and I could hear everyone all the time. Wow. And I didn't want to. I absolutely, because I was picking up all levels and could not control it. And wow. You don't want to be a telepath in a 3D world. Let me tell you, because people have shit for brains.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would imagine you heard quite a few things you didn't want to hear. TMI, too much information.
Yep.
Fascinating, though. So you said a minute ago that you didn't, that Donna hears. And which
yes.
Is like a lot of the couples that I interview, and Morgan's the same way,
Yeah.
She mostly is the one that brings it in. And that seems to be, a pattern from the couples I've talked to. But then you're saying you heard voices, and this time you were hearing their voices. Prior to that, you were hearing a voice directed at you, or voices directed at you?
No, back in the 60s, I was just hearing everything, and it was nothing. Most of it was from the astral plane, so it's just crap.
When you say the astral plane, I'm
talking lower level astral plane.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I just wanted to get some clarification. When you said the astral plane, when I woke up, and my story seems similar to others that I've heard, which is, when I woke up in 2011, I was having a lot of visitations, a lot of disincarnated souls coming to me. Will you talk to my mother? Will you talk to my father? And what I noticed was, I don't know, now if I look back, and maybe you can help me with this, to me it seems like fourth dimension, like a space in between what we call the fifth and what we call the third, where there was still agenda, there was still ego.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell? And obviously there was entities.
I have the confusion about that myself. It's like the fourth dimension is not a stable dimension, and it's very chaotic.
Yeah.
And that's why we're kind of going from the third to the fifth.
Yeah.
And I think probably right now, because there's so much chaos on the earth, we're probably the collective, I think, is heavily set in the chaotic fourth density or dimension.
That would make sense. It would make sense.
So there's a difference between densities and dimensions as well, and I'm not clear on that. I'm
not either, I don't. I just, over the years things come in, and then you just kind of sit back, and then in retrospect you look at it. But I remember getting that the distortion in the third dimension came from the fourth dimension, or came from fourth dimensional beings like the archons and so on, and they could not manifest, but they could distort things, and of course they feed off of the angst and the emotions of us.
Right.
That in the fourth dimension, solely the fourth dimension, that a lot like what you described, And it's always intrigued me because, people will say, well, why aren't we going to the fourth dimension? And I've always felt like you said, I think we're actually in it, or at least in a mix of the third and the fourth.
And depending on what your level of awareness is, I mean, we can be in a fifth dimensional state, but it's, I have to be alone to do that, basically.
Yeah.
And because when you come and try to interact with someone on a third dimensional level, sometimes what you're saying doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah. I saw a video a couple of days ago, and I really am still thinking about it. I'm not going to mention who it was. I have a lot of respect for this person because it's not about that. It's about what I heard, which I'd never heard before. And basically what they were saying was that, and I'd love to get your perspective on this because you've been in the game for so long, that we always want to leave the third dimension. We want to, can I elevate? Can I expand? Can I, move into a higher frequency or vibration? And they went on to say that the impetus for that is that we're uncomfortable in the 3D. We have uncomfortable experiences and situations and relationships and so on. And they went on to say that with that type of approach, let's just use that word, that the loop will continue. It will continue to occur, and that basically the answer was in embracing the third dimensional experiences and relationships and not, putting them at arm's length or disassociating from them, and that in itself was the integrating factor in actually making a cleaner move up into a higher frequency. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we have to transition now. We've been locked into this lower density for way too long. It's overdue. This is not the normal progression of a 3D planet because we are controlled, manipulated, we're kept down. This is a slave planet, and that I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. We have not been allowed to evolve, and something happened here. Oh,
you're still there.
Oh shit, Donna, I lost it.
You're just sideways. That's all. You're just sideways, but that's okay. Now I think we lost you. This is fascinating talking to this gentleman. Can you imagine waking up in 1968 in the middle of all those revolutions and everything and being put in a psych ward? That's a way shower's way shower, I think, that we're talking to. I'm sure he'll come back. So I really like this gentleman, and I got to say hello to his partner and his wife just a minute ago. Somebody says Allison's are trying to stop him. Well, we're just going to keep going because it's not going to stop us. And anytime we have technical difficulties, we always have a great show, as Angela Dwell will tell you. But I'm looking forward to collaborating with this gentleman more, and also with his wife, Donna, and also with them together. I think that's going to be quite fascinating, and I'm really happy that he's reached out to us, and we're having a conversation. I hope he comes back here in a minute. But in the meantime, everyone, yes, he does have a lot to share, Allison. I just want to take a moment real quick and thank so many people: Terry, Allison, Kathy, Pia, Angela. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. That the love and support and energy and contributions that we receive. It's literally a day by day existence, but it's become I don't want to say an expectation, but I don't worry so much anymore. Because I can see where the reciprocation of our energetic efforts is being given to all of us, and all the templates are changing. Everything is in the moment, and it's just been like a lot of people, it's been a struggle to continue to do our work, but it's become easier, and it's because of people like this, everyone that's here, that allows us to keep doing this every day, and it's a very humbling thing. And every morning when I get up, I hit my knees, so to speak, in gratitude for this community and for everyone who is a part of this vortex, because it is everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on the camera or not, but it's just a pleasure and an honor to be part of this. And I had to say that because it's heavy. It's not heavy on my heart, but it's pressuring my heart. So I'll probably start crying in a minute. But all right, so let's make sure that we connect with Glenn Willard. He's at YouTube, and he's also on his page, is what he said. And then he was something bear. I don't know if anybody caught it, but on Instagram, something bear, and I can't remember what it was. Let's see, a couple of comments here. Paula Martinson, I haven't seen your name before. Welcome. It's the body ascending. We as souls are of a higher dimension already having this experience. Yeah, definitely. We are going to continue to do our best to expand this platform. We are in the next week or two going to be we're broadcasting currently on 5 different channels, pages simultaneously, so they're all live, and we're going to bring that number up to about 12 or 13 here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then, of course, we're continuing to build our own website. In the meantime, we're going to have a temporary website, which I've already started on, where we'll start originating our broadcast. And, of course, we'll continue to multi-stream as well. Of course, people know that have been around for a while that I've talked about this for a couple of years, and I really believe you got to speak that shift into existence. And I haven't been talking about it as much anymore, but this website ultimately will have a private profile or a public profile social media community, as well as archives like YouTube, and of course lots of live programming with lots of different channels that will all be facilitated by the community. So if somebody wants to come in and build a channel or build a program, and it's all going to be there for everyone to be able to do it. And I don't know why this is coming out right now, because I could have been talking about a lot of other things. Oh yeah, and somebody said we need Soulogy gear merchandise. We actually have our first 2 T-shirts on the way. Thank you, Marilyn Biggers, and she's going to be handling some of the merchandise. So there will be an offering there. We've got a couple of T-shirts coming in. They say Soulogy on the front. One of them says I am Soul on the back, as well as Soulogy on the front. And right now we're just basic colors, black and white, but they are really nice. And we'll continue to do what we can there. We're looking to collaborate with anyone and everyone in divine timing, without force and inflow. And so we're going to just keep doing that. I just want everybody to know that in between these shows, there's work being done, and there's other people stepping up. I will say too, and I know this isn't what this program was for today, but I'd love to find a couple of people, 2, 3 people that would be interested in reviewing the shows every day and creating excerpts of the shows, 5, 6 minute excerpts, 3-minute excerpts that we could put out independent of the full show, so people could maybe get a taste of it. Where do you get the T-shirts? I will have that information for you in a couple of weeks, and then along with some other merchandise, I'm sure, as well. I also want to point out too that Morgan's website, zeropointing.com, is now up, and it's not 100% fluid, but it's good enough. And it's the work she's been downloading for 20 years. It's very incredible. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for that. And so you might want to take a look at that, zeropointing.com. This is a part of Soulogy, in a way, and it's part of how we're going to try to continue to facilitate what we're doing and continue to pay forward People pay forward to us. We pay forward to other people as we're moved to do so. And I think that's how the new 5D commerce works, to be honest with you. So we're going to continue to promote that. I want to thank everybody for coming in today. Collaboration with Tie-Dye with Sandra and Alan. Yes, we could very well do that. They're very good friends of ours, and they're doing amazing work. The whole idea of Soulogy is to provide a platform for all the voices of the world. You know, everybody's included in this circus tent, and nobody's excluded. It's 100% inclusive. We don't always have to agree. We just try to promote the I Am Soul and just a raw conversation, a real conversation, and also allow for a space that people can feel supported to share their stories and experiences and their skills and abilities. But I think we're probably losing out on Glenn Willard. We'll get him back on, and I guess today is a very special day because there's been a lot of stuff going on. It's been a long road, and I just want to tell everybody to keep going. Don't stop. Follow your heart. Listen to your guidance. There is a community building without agenda where everybody co-creates and collaborates together, and it works. This is real. We are magicians, alchemists, and supernatural gods and goddesses in the flesh. And so with that, I'm going to sign off, and thank you very much for coming in today. All blessings to you and yours. Peace out.